Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 34 of the SmiteTalk show. My name is Octane Pro, and joining me as always, I do have my right-hand man. We do have FG3000. How's it going, buddy?
Nice. I like that intro. Good job, brother.
You're
Getting better
welcome.
and better every episode.
I'm trying. So, those of you guys not familiar, SmiteTalk is a weekly show which is built more traditionally around what you see on radio, where it allows people to go ahead and call in and ask us questions, comments, have a discussion with us on different things related to Smite. So, example things people call in. Oh, I don't like the change of Mercury. Or, oh, what are your thoughts on this skin? Or, what are your thoughts on this change? Theory crafting. Anything you want to talk about with Smite is available to you if needed. So, make sure, feel free to go ahead and call in. You can go ahead and use directly below me. We're using Raid Call in order to take your calls. So, go ahead, download the program Raid Call and set it up. Go ahead and put in the group ID once Raid Call loads, 7461039, and go ahead and you'll be put in queue. Once you're in the queue, I'll just send you an IM and just say, hey, want to make sure you're all set up, your audio's set up, stuff like that, be good to go. And we'll go from there. So, we have some preset topics to talk about this week, but then we'll go ahead and bring in some callers. We're taking emails as well. Email SmiteTalk@gmail.com, and we'll actually take your questions live on the show via that way as well. So if you don't have the ability to call in live or you're checking out the VOD, we can talk then. So before we jump into it, FG, what have you been up to this week with Smite and video games?
Smite and video games. Wow, you expanded the question.
Yeah, we talk about Smite. Smite is so heavy, but, a lot of the things that we play outside of Smite influence our thoughts on Smite. Stuff like that. So I like to broaden that topic a little bit. So what have you been up to? What have you been playing this week? What have you been doing this week with video games in general?
I've been dabbling back and forth between Shadows and Mordor and leveling up Sylvanas. Sylvanas is the man. He is like the most fun I've had in Smite in such a long time. He is really, really good. I'm going to be sad when I see the patch notes and I see that he's inevitably going to be nerfed just slightly.
Are you going to go ahead and have him mastered in like 2-week period?
Oh, yeah. I'm about to get Mastery Level 2 tonight after we hang up here. So you guys are slowing me down. Let's chop the... Come on, show. Let's get this.
I know, right? This show is taking up my time. Come on now. That is pretty interesting. Shadows of Mordor, I heard, is doing... Actually, Shadow of Mordor. It is... Let's be correct. It's Shadow, not Shadows. I hear is doing very, very well. To be honest with you, I've seen a lot of streamers playing it. Overall thoughts on it. I mean, everything I've heard, it's been doing very, very well.
See, let me bring everyone's hopes down just a little bit. It's a really, really good game, but I hate any game in the world. It is not just Shadow or Shadows of Mordor. I don't like any game that has infinite spawning creatures. I hate that aspect. So you can be fighting off a bunch of orcs, and you're doing like fantastic, just doing all this Assassin's Creed kind of things, and mobs will just keep coming. They'll just keep coming over and over and over, and eventually you just have to run away. I don't like that. I want to be able to at least temporarily just kill all the orcs in the area, at least for a little while, but that doesn't really happen in this game. So that kind of annoys me a little bit, but whatever.
Whatever. So I guess I could say you play your fair share of Smite. And with that in mind, Shadows of Mordor is very coordinated and very handheld with the combat in the game. Where it's saying press left click or press right click here in order to perform certain things. What are your thoughts on that versus like what you see in Smite? Whereas it's all skill shot based. You don't press Q and your guy instantly turns around and blocks it, stuff like that. So between the two, I mean big difference for you, likes, dislikes.
Yeah, I mean, there is a certain appeal to what they call a spectacle fighter, which is what Shadows is. And spectacle means you kind of watch everything happen because you can't make yourself look that fluid. Like a player just can't really do that. And I think there's this time and place for all of it. So I like spectacle fighters because I can't do all the flips and the stabs and the uppercuts that make it look together. Because if you just controlled all that, it would be so herky-jerky and kind of lame. So there's a place for both of it. So I like all the genres, the genres.
Okay. Good to know. Outside of that, anything else for this week for you?
That's it, man. Trying to get back on Sylvanas. Support FG. Let's get it on.
Okay. I think
when a mid camp spawn again? I don't even
3
know. I'm in a
minutes.
solo lane.
3
Solo
minutes.
lane. I don't have time for this stuff. You guys
So
worry about that.
did I talk last? I don't know if I talked about this last week. I tried out Arcade a little bit. So I played a decent amount of that one night. I don't know if that was this week or the week before, but either way, played Arcade. Enjoyed it quite a bit. Definitely found myself falling back to Smite very quickly. But I played a good 4 hours of it. So got to level 10. It's out of 50. Enjoyed it.
For a free game, not too bad.
Oh no, not
That's pretty
at
good.
all.
Entertainment ratio.
That's right. That's right. So I did a YouTube series on that, so that worked out well there. And then I dabbled into a little bit of Counter-Strike Go last night, the competitive feature in there. And as I said on Smite Update, the trolls and the rudeness and just the on the voice chat feature in CS:GO makes me appreciate what we have in Smite with Curse. I had people playing music over it. I had people like every like 30 seconds. The one guy at one point was like, "Hey, you got any skins I could have? You selling any skins?" Like I swear it was like a recording. It was so annoying. And so like I have a huge appreciation for the Smite community and us using the Curse client because like, oh my word, like I'm not experiencing it to that extent in Smite, and I hope we never get to that point.
Are you trying to tell me to download Curse again? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, every time I play with you, you do not have Curse, and it drives me nuts. Get it set up, bro.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
People want to hear your sexy voice, so come on now. Get it set up.
My only problem with, this is why I'll never be on a pro team.
Okay.
Because my problem with live communication is that someone is over in the long lane complaining about things that don't pertain to me. Like, oh man, Vulcan's overpowered. Man, hurt him by wards. Oh man, I keep getting hit by attacks. Like, I don't need to hear that kind of stuff in the solo lane. Like, I always feel like there's too much talking going on, and I zone out and I'm listening to things and I don't realize, oh, by the way, someone's coming to the right lane to gank. Like, oh, what? Oh, you're actually talking to something that pertains to me now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Maybe in a pro team it's not as bad because they're probably only talking about things that interest the entire team at large, but I just feel like in casual,
how much?
Curse
Okay.
is just so much just talking about random things.
Did you even install Curse in the first place? Is my first question.
I did for my team.
And
my
second,
gyms.
and how long did you deal with it? A week?
How long did it take for my gyms to come in my email?
No.
Or two?
Oh,
about an hour.
No. How long did you use Curse before you gave up on it?
I might be talking from past experience. Okay.
Get your butt in gear.
So,
all right, get your butt in gear.
I might try it. Next time I see you do viewer games, I might just pop in there one day.
That's right. That's
not
my
sub games because I'm not
as I have to every Smite talk, I have to give my gripe on how I'm not getting worshippers because I'm in custom games. Just gonna put it out there.
Oh my goodness, it's never gonna change.
Nope,
it's never gonna change.
It's not. I just gotta stop doing viewer games. That's all.
So you're just gonna be like rank 0 Sylvanas forever. Because if you're not using Sylvanas in the support lane right now, you're doing a disservice to your team.
I will say I am. So, give you guys a heads up before we jump into some more of our regular topics here. Also, take some calls as we're starting to have people, load up in the queue here. Decent amount of people. Want to remind you guys that this is available on iTunes. So if you guys are interested in checking it out, you can go ahead and check out the audio-only version, which is on iTunes. But it's also available for you Android users if you're using your favorite Android app. Some people use Slacker for podcasts. Some people use BeyondPod. Go ahead, search for Smite. You will find not only Smite Update that I was on, just a little bit ago, but also SmiteTalk on both of them. So iTunes and also the Android platform as well. So let's go ahead. We'll kind of jump into it a little bit here. Why don't we take our first caller and then we'll jump into our first topic, which is a little untraditional, but topics are there as a backbone just in case we need them. So with that being said, let's go ahead and bring in our first caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to Smite Talk. How's it going?
Hello.
Hello. So what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I want to talk about how Cuckoo-Con. What do you think about him being?
Go ahead.
What do you think about him being nerfed?
The current nerf that just came out this past patch.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem. So for those of you guys not familiar,
the whirlwind goes down some.
Correct. So those of you guys not familiar, Cuckoo-Con, or whatever you like to call him, Mr. Cuckoo, Kukulkan, he had an adjustment made to his whirlwind where after you exit the whirlwind radius, it used to be the tick of that damage would last 3 seconds. Now it's down to 2 seconds. And Smitten actually talked a little bit about being frustrated with this as a player that plays this god a lot. FG, what are your thoughts on this change? Did you feel it was needed? Did you feel that it wasn't? What are your thoughts?
I do feel like it was needed, but at the same time, I'm not like a rank 10 Cuckoo, so I don't play him as much.
Yeah.
But I mean, I played him this weekend just in Siege and Arena, and I felt like the intrinsic part of what makes him is still intact. Okay. Being able to safely clear out a lane and go somewhere else, like, oh, here comes mid camps, throw my 3, rotate out. Like the things that he was known for are still intact. Destroying team fights, beautiful ults. I mean, they did nerf his ticks a little bit, but did you really feel like you earned those kills when Freya is running away and she has like one little bit of life and bam, one more tick kills her? Did you really feel like you earned them?
That's like the same. That's the same thing where like you accidentally run through it at some point or hit it, and then you go into jungle, and then a few seconds later, it's like killed by Kukulkan. And it's like what? I wasn't even near him. I don't understand. That's where it's at. So
this is a good nerf because it didn't screw up what he can do in the game. Like the things that he did in the game before the nerf, he can still do in the game after the nerf.
Very true. Very true. What are your thoughts, caller, on the change? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Where are you at with it?
Well, me personally, I somewhat do and don't like it.
Okay.
I like it because somewhat going against Kukulkan.
Okay.
It's not as annoying where you get that continuous ticking damage.
Mm-hmm.
But from a
Oh, did we lose you there?
For him?
Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. I can understand that.
I still lost him.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
I feel as if like you get your opponent down to a sliver.
All right. I think we keep losing him, so we'll jump on to our next caller. But thank you for the question, caller, regarding Kukulkan. It was good. Good question, without a doubt. I know people are up in the air directly about that, so good to know. Before we bring in our next caller here, why don't we go ahead and jump into whatever first topics. But don't forget, guys, you guys want to call in or email in, feel free to on any topic you'd like. And FG, what is our first topic for tonight?
One of my favorite topics, besides viewer calls, God discussion.
All right.
Yeah. Today's God, you know what? The funny thing is, we've done this maybe like the last, I don't know how many episodes I've been on, but we've kind of done this every single episode. I haven't been keeping track of which guys I've used.
Neither have I.
So I really need to start doing that.
Go back through and check it out. Go back through the notes
Yeah.
and you can look through the notes. Yeah.
All right. I know we haven't done Chang'e though.
Yeah.
So today is Chang'e. And Chang'e is a very, very interesting god. So let's kind of do a real quick preview of Chang'e, and then we'll kind of talk about how she fits in the actual meta. And if you're not familiar with what we do in this section of the show, I like to talk about the other gods that are in the game. We always kind of focus on the overpowered gods and the underpowered gods. There are a lot of gods in the middle of those 58 that are actually pretty decent, or maybe not decent, but they deserve to be talked about. So let's talk about Chang'e with probably the most, in her time, probably one of the most creative passives that came to Smite.
Yeah.
This is directly pulled from kind of other MOBAs that have basically a courier system where you can buy items from out in the field. And I think a lot of people forget about that with Chang'e, that was something that a lot of other MOBAs have that Smite absolutely didn't have anything like. So Smite just said, oh, we'll just take that and only put it in one character as opposed to the entire team. So if you're not familiar,
which is pretty cool.
She has a little bunny rabbit that'll go back to the base and buy you items. And I wish, I know this is kind of asking too much, but in Dota 2, you can buy like multiple items. I just wish I could buy give me boots and some pots. I need both.
Yo, that rabbit needs to hit the gym so it can carry more and more. Come on now. I think I can agree with you. I like the passive. I think it's easily forgotten. On most of us here, casual players or new players, with realizing that, especially as you transition from one god to the next, from one game to the next, you kind of forget about that with Chang'e, that what her passive is and how great it is. So that's something to keep in mind. Keep in mind it's interesting how this passive isn't as effective though within Assault. You can't have Jade's Rabbit going back and forth in Assault because you can't. Once you leave the fountain, you don't have the ability to buy anymore or go back to the fountain. But I really enjoy Jade's Rabbit. I like the approach that they took to it. At first, I was a little off because I was like, oh, it's from another, that concept seems to be from another MOBA. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with Hi-Rez looking at other games, even other MOBAs, and taking things that works and putting a creative twist on it and throwing it into their own game. Every game does this. Every game looks at other competitors and takes features that work well and throws at it. So I can agree, though. I like the idea, and I'd like to see the change up where Jay's Rabbit could pick up, even if it's 2 items would be nice, but in reality, you should be able to pick up what you need to, because it's not like, I feel like, do you think it'll be abused? Because remember, if you're in lane longer, you're getting more XP. With Chang'e,
that's a good point.
With Chang'e, you have more sustain. Therefore, outside of mana, you have that health available to you. So, with her, you're in lane longer. It kind of gives you a. Does it give you an advantage over your opponent because of that? If you're not,
I can see that.
If you don't ever go back because you can buy multiple items.
I think you have a really good point there. Maybe we can see something like the speed of the rabbit increases over the duration of the game, because once you get out of the laning phase, you don't really use that bunny anymore. It's usually fight over the Gold Fury, everyone goes back. Fight over the Fire Giant, everyone goes back. You know what I mean? You don't really use the bunny past like 20, 25 minutes. So maybe if it was faster as the game progressed, maybe you could still use it. But I mean, she still has another part of her passive, which gives her the no backpedal penalty when she's using her dances, which is pretty good. Yeah. And I like the fact that they kind of made her very dancey, very flowy. I remember when I first saw the god reveal in this god, I thought, wow, I love the animation quality on Smite gods. And even now, Chang'e is old. I don't know how old she is. She came out in, actually I do know, July 24th, 2013. Even considering that, her animation quality, the flow of Chang'e still looks good today. And she's well over a year old. So very, very good job on Chang'e there. Let's just kind of go through a couple of her abilities real quick so we know what we're talking about here. Crescent Moon Dance is her basic DD. That's your 5-second cooldown with no CDR. That is probably the most annoying move in the world, because when you're trying to like juke a Chang'e and you've been fighting her and it's like down to that last minute, you can't juke that you can't do it. It's like this big, huge splash of damage. There's absolutely nothing you can do. She's going to kill you. Moonlight Waltz is her number 2, which is
it's beads in a nutshell.
Built-in beads. It has a pretty decent skill cap because you kind of have to do a little prediction. You can kind of get stunned before you do it. So I do like Moonlight Waltz. It's pretty good. Moonflower Dance is an ability that we've seen change quite a bit over the course of her life. That's her little AoE splash damage, splash heal. I think there was a point where it only healed. I think there was a point where it only damaged.
It's been back and forth.
Now it does both. So, and then of course Waxing Moon, which is what a lot of naysayers of Chang'e will say that is her only good ability, is Waxing Moon, which is probably the best team fight disruptor in the game. If you were like the last person hit on Waxing Moon, if you're not familiar with what Waxing Moon does, let me break it down for you. There's a lot of people when I'm playing in Conquest and people are like, oh my god, I was bugged. I was stunned for like 30 minutes. I'm like, that's because you were the last person hit on Waxing Moon. So let's talk about what happened. So
that's what you get for hanging out in the back. That's what you get. All right.
That's what you get for trying to be safe in the back. Every god that is hit and stunned gets stunned longer than the previous one. So if it hits just one person, it's a set duration of 1 second. Hold on. Don't let me lie to anybody. 1 second plus 1 second for each god already stunned. Okay, I just had to make sure I wasn't lying to anybody. So if you're in a team fight and there's 5 people and you were the 5th person hit, you were stunned for 5 seconds. Sitting there like a sitting duck, basically dead in any real team fight. So a lot of people think she's a walking ultimate. I think she's more than that. She is a person that is notorious for getting people out of position. A lot of people like to chase Chang'e, thinking that they just one more hit and we can kill Chang'e. She's going to kill you. If you're chasing a Chang'e through a jungle back to her base, she will kill you. Do not chase a Chang'e. Never. Don't do it. Ever.
I feel like Chang'e has gone through a lot since her original release. When she first came out, she was a little strong. I'll agree. There were some adjustments made to her, which I think she's in a really good spot right now. I found when at the time that Chang'e came out and kind of some months after, I was casting the 3vs3 tournaments, the North American 3vs3 tournaments for Smite Central, and she definitely was very good in the 3vs3 combination. We saw her played a decent amount, quite a bit in solo, to be honest with you. And I feel she's fallen off a decent amount right now. She isn't necessarily your first pick that you would see, even in a competitive level with Chang'e. She could be countered with a few items, but overall, I think she's a good god. FG kind of hit a nail on the head when he said, she is a god that falls right in between. She's kind of lost in between the amount of gods that we have right now.
And that's not bad. There's
no, not at all. That's
game.
As I mentioned before, the meta shifts right now like daily. I feel like, and more we're seeing out of the professional scene, pros going ahead and playing non-traditional gods in like solo lane or jungle that shift the meta for the casual scene so easily. So, you could see Chang'e make a strong comeback if all of a sudden we see someone, like Game Hunter all of a sudden pull out Chang'e in solo lane and be very successful with it, or Zalia, who is very common to play some non-traditional gods do well with her. So, I think Chang'e is in a good place right now. Would you change anything about her at this point?
I would just change how often she is used. She needs to be used a little bit more. I think, and this is not really anything to do with her itself. I just think people forget that her number 3 once again has built-in healing reduction. And this game is I don't want to say the entire game is shifting that way, but it seems a lot of games where if there is a healer involved, like an Aphrodite or a Ra, there's no real counter picking being done. I kind of feel like either a Divine Ruin or Weakening Curse comes out too late in the game, or they just don't try to counter heals in the team fight or during the picking phase.
Okay.
And I think that, DM Brandon would be the first person to say, why aren't you picking Chang'e? 50% healing reduction, that is humongous.
Yeah.
Why would you not? And you throw a Divine Ruin on it, that's 90% healing reduction? Automatically, who's Vamana? Who's Hell? Who's Aphrodite? Who's Ra? All those people all of a sudden just become non-factors. And Chang'e is a god that can actually remain in a team fight. Even if she gets jumped on, she can still stay in a team fight and she doesn't just blow up like other gods. So I'm really confused why we don't see her pick more when it comes to just counter picking, at least that.
Okay.
But it is what it is. Chang'e's a great god. I wouldn't really change anything about her kit itself. I don't think she's a walking ultimate. I think she's a really, really good god. Maybe a little bit boring, I would say. But as far as her kit, it's legit.
Yeah.
Pick her.
Definitely. So let's go ahead. We'll jump into some callers here. Grab someone. We'll go from there. So our next caller is Ty. Ty, welcome to SmiteTalk. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going there?
It's going good. So we want to talk about today.
I just wanted to make a quick comment on, I think, FG, it was like whether or not you deserved that kill from that little extra tick of the cuckoo. Oh, there's another skill that's even worse than that, and that's Nuwa's ult. If I 2v1 in the dual lane, there's no reason I should die from Nuwa in the solo lane just by pushing 4.
What's wrong? You don't like global ultimates? I don't understand. Come on now.
I don't like a global ultimate that hits everyone on the map. Like, all you have to do is push 4. No skill.
I mean, I can understand the argument.
Yeah.
Like at least with Neath, you need vision. At least it can be blocked by an allied teammate.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I don't like that they put that in the game. But the thing I want to talk about actually is Sylvanas.
Okay.
And I know FG, you've been playing him a lot. In fact, I'm pretty sure I got into a game with you at like 3:30 in the morning.
What? Probably. I was trying to master it up.
What were you doing? What were you doing up at that time?
And
were you on my team or the
FG
I was in your
failed.
You did not get into Curse. I was so mad.
Okay. All right.
My support didn't get into Curse.
Okay, so
Yeah.
here's my call out to the community. Every time that you get into a game with FG3000, please harass him to get into Curse. In order to be a better team player. Please do it. Please do
My
it.
excuse was, I remember they were saying, hey, get in the Curse. I was like, it's 3 a.m. Enter.
Yeah, it was. I was like, all right, okay. But yeah, I wanted to know what you thought of him. I remember when they were talking about, I think it was during the dev talk, it was the creator.
Okay.
Yeah, they were talking about him, and they made it very clear that, this is a god that's not supposed to do a lot of damage. This is a god that's lane clear is not supposed to be that good. So they seemed to imply that this is a god that's really only supposed to be in a support role.
Okay.
However, when he came out, I've seen him go in every single role with the exception of Hunter and excel very, very well. And I don't think that's exactly what they intended. So I wanted to know what your thoughts were on this.
Sure. I'll take this one first. Sylvanas is, let's put it this way. Every new god that comes out, players test the limits, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing players play him in every role. It's fine. That's exactly what needs to be done. You see his limitations. You see the advantages of the god. I think, we see people building him differently to test the the how far they can take that god. We see people with building him damage and then want to see, is he viable in this position? You also have to remember, people are on the flip side of it, determining, okay, like what's the best way to counter Sylvanas when he goes damage? Because I feel most gods when they come out, they're kind of all over the place, and then they kind of hit that balance point, that plateau, where it gets predetermined as to kind of where you're traditionally going to see them. I think Sylvanas, from my experience, benefits most from going with the traditional Guardian style build. What I'm excited about, though, is to see how he can be played in solo lane because of his survivability as a solo laner, and also because a lot of people I've seen building Sylvanas hybrid. You're building him half in that direction of a Guardian and half in the direction of damage build. So that allows for you to be in that solo lane. Now, granted, his biggest issue with solo lane there is mobility. The gank ability, there's a very high potential to gank him because he doesn't have that mobility. So that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts, FG, on his question? And maybe some of the things I said.
As a solo expert.
Don't even. Don't even.
Funny enough, I actually haven't built him all damage, so I really can't speak. That's really hilarious that I haven't even tried to put him in the solo lane yet. I just didn't think this is one of the points that we always kind of make on this show. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it, right? Just because you can get away with clearing lanes in the solo and maybe secure a couple of kills. I just think Sylvanas is kind of wasted there. His one is so good, and that's the little the pods that you throw that can either give you MP5, which I don't use enough of, but
I agree.
Throwing it and rooting someone is like the easiest skill shot you'll ever land if you do it correctly.
You're one and then you're three, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that whole combo is wasted over there in the solo lane because you really, when you're over there in the solo lane, getting close to your enemy isn't really a problem. Like you're going to slap each other's faces for, that's going to happen in the solo lane. I think it's just much better used in the long lane and those engagements in the jungle over the Gold Fury. I think it's just so much more beneficial over there than it is over there. But I do totally agree with you. When new gods come out, everyone says, I'm going to try to jungle this person. I'm going to try to solo this person. And it's eventually going to kind of level out. If he doesn't have any changes on his kit, which I
will be surprised.
I know.
Nothing changes.
I think the changes will come to his second ability, the Wisp.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
It's kind of bloated.
Holy crap.
His Wisp are kind of bloated. Not only does it heal you, not only does it do damage to people, it also grants protections. It's a really, really good ability on a pretty decent cooldown. I would be okay with them nerfing that as long as they don't nerf the one's cooldown. I feel like I had it up just enough times to be relevant in the middle of a team fight. Okay. If they make that one any longer than it is, I think that's going to, if they, increase the cooldown of his one and nerf his two, I think he falls off like super hard after that.
Okay. Good to know.
I agree.
Well, Ty, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
Alrighty. Always good conversation.
But just like I said before, if you're not using Sylvanas right now in the long lane, you're doing a disservice to your team. I don't care how good you are at support. You could be even better with Sylvanas. You can be even better.
I concur. Let's go ahead. You know what? Let's jump on here. Let's take an email. I thought we'd kind of spice it up a little bit before we jump on here.
Spicy.
That's right. I like it. Alrighty. So let's see here. This email comes from Mason. You guys can email in at SmiteTalk@gmail.com, and if we don't read it this week, we'll get to it next week. Especially if you're listening to the VOD on iTunes or on YouTube, we won't forget about you. So this one comes from Mason and says, "What are your all?" Sorry, I'm reading it word by word. What are all your thoughts on maybe giving Hades a cripple on his ultimate to make him viable again? This is coming from a rank 8 who misses before the release when people didn't make fun of me playing him. Well, I'm sorry people are making fun of you for playing Hades.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh.
As for you liar. Don't be sorry. You can laugh. As for the cripple, what are your thoughts on adding cripple to Hades?
Way too much. Way too much. Yeah, I mean, remember the time when they gave Bakasura a small little cripple in that little small throat pile?
Dude, his
Cripples
ultimate is
cannot
so Bakasura's ultimate is so good in the first place. Do not give that man a cripple. Do not.
Yeah.
As for
yeah.
Hades though, okay,
Cripple.
where are you seeing Hades played right now? Is my question. What game mode and what position?
I don't see Hades a lot anymore, but when I do see him, it's usually solo or mid, which he's actually really, really good. I just don't think people give Hades enough credit. Hades is a really good magey, tanky guardian in the realm of kind of like a Zhong, like a kind of a tanky guardian. I'm sorry, a tanky mage. So I do still see him being relevant in mid and being relevant in the solo lane, but the problem is the team comps don't build around it. If you're in a solo queue with Conquest, someone locks in Hades and goes solo, people automatically think that, oh, we have a tank, so we're kind of good. No. You need to treat Hades like a mage, like pretend Ra's over there in the solo lane. Don't pick Aphrodite support. Make sure you still have a front line because Hades is he's not your guy. He's not your guy.
Yeah, I mean,
so
I could
still pick Chalk and all those other people to have a front line.
Yeah, I could agree with Hades when, Hades is a mage that has a little bit more survivability because of his kit. With that, especially with his dive and then also with his second ability, he has a little bit more survivability there. I think you have a good point that if you were to give a god now I'm trying to think with Poseidon, like Poseidon middle has the whirlpool with cripple, but that's not his ultimate though with Poseidon. So I feel like imagine I just don't see it as viable. Imagine a mage that has that cripple ability like that. I just don't see it working. I see the utility of it when you have the whirlpool. I also see the utility of like Ares with the cripple availability as well. So I can understand it. I just don't know that I think it would go very well with Hades. But it's a good question. I still, as we've talked about, not every god has to be the top pick and first pick god to classify under viable. I think Hades is viable, but in select roles, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I wonder if you could do something kind of creative with Hades ult. This might be too complicated to put in Smite, but I don't know. Maybe if you get more than 3 people or more than 2 people, the first person is crippled, everyone else isn't crippled. I mean, maybe give him something like heals while he's he gets protections while he's channeling his ultimate. Maybe he gets heals too. There's something that can be done on that, but if Smite wants to keep him stationary in that ultimate, they're going to have a really hard time unless they give him, I kind of feel like it's going to be, I don't even feel like if they put heals on his ultimate and maybe a cripple on the first god on his ultimate, I still don't think that'll make him overpowered because he's still stationary. So I think they can kind of get away with adding, I think they can bloat his ultimate a little bit more and make him a little bit better.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I can see that. We'll take another question here. Email comes to us from Starin. He says, what do you think of the new Arachne? I find it disorienting as an old Arachne player seeing people type Arachne OP in the lobby when I lock her in.
Hilarious.
I think Arachne is very viable. I think Arachne's new kit is great. It was something Arachne needed. I find Arachne being played more in the casual ranked type of setting versus the competitive scene, the pro scene, and then some higher level ranked where Arachne is not picked up. I think she's great all around. I think her kit's great. I don't think it needs... At first, I thought it needed quite some changes to it, but I'm happy where it's at right now. What do you think, FG?
Yeah, it kind of fixed itself a little bit. I think people kind of got used to the new spider, and we kind of know what we're doing. She's an auto attack based god. That takes a little bit of skill on the player itself. Which sounds really funny, just holding down your left click button, but sometimes there are some fast gods in the game that are hard to catch, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Arachne's good. I kind of like the way, I like where she is. She is feared in the jungle, which that's kind of been her MO forever. So I like the fact that she is someone that you can fear of counter jungling or stealing your buffs, and she's still not a team fight like destroyer. She's still very much an assassin, very much a jungler. I like it. I like where she is. I'm still not going to use her, but I think she's fun. So good luck to all the people that play Arachne. You actually have a god that is worth keeping around. So good stuff.
All right, we'll take one more question here from emails, and then we'll take a viewer call. This email comes to us from Brady. This is talking about Naja. So Naja is my favorite god. I hate that. I don't. All right, let's get rid of this email already.
I didn't write this.
Get rid of this email. Let's move on. So Naja is my favorite god in the game, and I find it sad that he, which is really a she, isn't really viable in the pro league because he's easily countered and with beads or Aegis. Do you think that there is a way to make him more viable, either through a skill change or maybe even a passive? My response to this is no comment. I will allow FG to comment more on this, as he definitely plays Naja more, and unfortunately, you've heard it here first, he plays Naja in every position. So
yes, I do.
You are that guy.
All five.
You
All
are
five
that guy.
lanes.
Okay, so
Let me add it.
What are your thoughts on this question?
So a lot of people talk about Naja's passive. It's not terrible. It's not the worst passive in the game. First off, it's not that bad. When it comes to just a really good passive versus what you get from it, HP 5 in lane is so good early game. It does fall off, and that's a problem. But early game, HP 5 is really good, and it kind of ties into what Naja is a god that is all about getting kills early, staying ahead, and ending games early. That is a problem. That is an intrinsic problem when it comes to Naja being on a pro level, because games don't always end early. There's a few gods in the game that are like that, like Thanatos, for example. Gets ahead fast and tries to end the game early. When you're a pro and you're playing at a tournament level, you don't F6 at 10, you don't F6 at 15, you don't even F6 at 20. You know what I mean? So that's a problem that I think Naja is always going to have, and I don't think it's a problem with his kit itself. It's just the type of god he is. He has fires on his roller skates. He's going fast. He wants to end the game fast. So I don't really think that's a problem with the god itself. There's gods that are late game. There are gods that are kind of average all through the game. And there are gods like Naja that are all about early game, kill you early in the game, make you cry. Why did I queue up? FG's playing against me. My life sucks.
I hate you. Moving on. So let's go ahead. Good question, though. Let's go ahead, take in our next caller. Hectic Tangent. Welcome to SmiteTalk. How's it going?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Good. So what do you have for us for today?
So in the latest patch, we got like 2 new items that were like, they do help like characters like Kali and Osiris, but I feel like they're more geared towards hunters. But I feel like they're not going to be used much because for the past 4 months, it's been like the same build forever.
For the cookie cutter build, yep.
It drives me nuts that like you see like different items being bought like in the solo lane and mid and jungle and support, but ADC it's been the same for every single time. Thanks to Zapman, I feel like, and I just wondering like why is this still happening? Why aren't players building items more to their playstyle than just always sticking this cookie cutter build?
Sure. I think it's a great question there. I try to encourage, when I talk to new players and stuff like that, I try to encourage people to build your items towards your playstyle, exactly as you said there. You defaultly find people that either don't want to do the research or feel, okay, Zapman goes this route or Barracuda goes this route or Reels goes this route on Hunter, so I should do that. And the response there is, no, you really shouldn't. Because the builds that they are using are at a pro level builds that work for their play style and those players know the limitations, they know the limitations to the point of their items and know what's going to work best for them. But just, for me, I feel like, build what works for you. Build the items that makes you most comfortable. Granted, there is some argument there like, hey, those items are the most, allow you to maximize your abilities here, and here, get the biggest damage here, and here. But, if you're finding, like, there's sometimes I find people that play certain items and people question it in game. And I'm like, hey, if they want to go that route, go for it. Like, if they, prove me, the best thing I like to do is when someone says, hey, I'm going to go with this item first. And I go, okay, great. Prove me wrong. Show me that it's going to work. So, with some of the newer items, I feel like the Odysseus's bow hasn't been given kind of the amount of attention that it should, along with some of the other new items here. So I feel like we see those new items more and more into casual. I hate that we have cookie cutter builds. I hate it. I really do. I am completely against it. don't mind when you see someone go with, like, for example, support, and you go with like Watcher's Gift, Midas Boots, and then the Sovereignty, but then you take the rest of your build and it's critique towards the game. So I mean, that's the biggest thing I try to tell people is pick items based on your lane and based on your opponent and based on your team comp, because that's important. Like picking up items that not only will counter your enemy but also help your team out in certain fighting scenarios and team scenarios, I think is important. So I, as a Guardian, will build my first 3 items pretty standard. Sovereignty swaps out on my 3rd item depending on what I'm going against. But outside of that, I change things up on my additional items. FG, what are your thoughts on the caller's questions?
Yeah, I think there's a kind of a divide here. There are core items, right, that I think all gods should kind of buy, and maybe that's the kind of the confusion here. Like when you're playing Hunter, you need to have some core items. You need to probably have some lifesteal. You probably need to have some penetration. You probably need to have some crit. So you need to have some core items. Same thing with support, right? Watcher's Gift, Midas, Sovereignty, those are core items. But I think almost all the gods in the game have the ability to kind of deviate after that, right? Buying Witchblade on a Hunter isn't awful, right? You can actually get away with that. Going Heartseeker on Hunter isn't the worst in the world. You can still go Devourer's Glove. You can still go to Transcendence. If you're in the solo lane, you have the world. You can do anything you want in the solo lane. They probably have the most diverse builds in the game. Mages have a pretty diverse builds. You can go, T-Book. You can go Doom Orb. You can kind of, there's all kinds of things that you can kind of do in these other lanes. I do totally agree with you though when it comes to Hunter probably being the least flexible when it comes to builds, because you have to have crit. Like you can't just sit there and try to auto type people all day. I don't care how good your aim is in the middle of a team fight with all these abilities going on. You need to be able to make all those hits count. So I do agree, Hunter is probably the least flexible out of all those. And these bows didn't really make that big of a difference. I tried it on Xbalanque earlier today, and it doesn't spark enough. And if a god that already has a good clear uses it, then Xbalanque is just as bad as he was before. So those bows, in my opinion, they need some work. They definitely need some work.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't feel like, and I might be on the island by myself when it comes to item builds. I feel like item builds are just one part of Smite.
It's a mini game. It's a mini game.
Yeah, it's a small mini game. But if this was League of Legends, where most abilities auto sync, heat sync onto you, and really counter building is kind of the name of the game, I would understand. But Smite, you can be Zapman versus myself, and it is a war between who is better, not necessarily who builds better. If Zapman had a terrible build and I had the best build of all time, he would probably still beat me 9 times out of 10. Still. So I like that part about Smite, probably. That it's not always about the items. There is so much more to Smite, and I think that's just the problem with third-person camera view versus, top-down. We don't really need that many items, I don't think. But I do like the fact that Hi-Rez is kind of expanding out. But it either seems that the items are really, really good or not very good. Forgot about, like helmets.
Right? Yeah, I can agree.
Yeah, where did those go?
Yeah, I feel like...
I think they removed them from the game. They're not here anymore.
I feel like it's weird because we're at a point now in the game where we're seeing items be introduced, but a lot of them are falling off. Like, they're introduced, people play with them for a week, and then go back to what we've been used to. I feel like at this point, we kind of... Do you feel, and this is a question for the caller and also FG, do you guys feel like we've hit that threshold where new items added in, unless they're extremely overpowered or extremely strong, are kind of going to get put to the wayside for some of the items that are traditionally being used over the past several months?
I think so. I mean, like, it's weird because, like, those helmets came out and, like, everybody's like, okay, mages can now, like, survive in the solo lane against warriors, especially Heavy Hammer. But then they had to go ahead and nerf Heavy Hammer. It's like, it's like not worth, I don't know if it's, like, worth the risk or not, but it's just, like, they're not, I just feel like more players should just go for it, even, like, if it's, I don't think the item's going to cost in the game, like, one item.
Another thing, too, is, like, are we as the community lazy in regards to experimenting and using other items, or are we just sticking with the popular items listed in Smite, for your god, and using Tier Monster or other sites like that? Are we getting lazy to the point, or are we hitting that threshold where we have putting any more items in is going to be too many items within Smite, and not by the sheer number, but by what we're picking, as time and time again? What do you think, FG?
I think you just nailed it right there. I think instead of the word lazy, I would use maybe the hive mind mentality.
Okay.
Because I think that's kind of what it is. I mean, I think when Heavy Hammer came out, there's still a lot of naysayers about Heavy Hammer. I was, I didn't know about it. I saw Pon talk about it one day, and I was like, oh my God, Heavy Hammer is amazing. And I started building it, but there were still tons of people that are like, Heavy Hammer? No one ever builds that. That must be bad because I never see it. It's kind of that mentality. And until someone, up there in the ranks, unfortunately, higher than me or you, start building these items and saying, yo, this is an integral part of my kit. I always built Odysseus bow, and this is why. Until something like that happens, I don't think it trickles down to the community at large until then. Okay. Which is kind of sad, but I think that's kind of just the way it is. People kind of gravitate towards, the bigger picture, the popular items, if you will.
Okay. I can see that. Well, good question, Hectic Tangent. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
No problem. You guys have a good night.
Thank you.
See ya.
Always such nice, polite callers, Love it.
I know, man. It's a great community. Unlike that Counter-Strike thing that you were playing.
What is that thing? Jeez.
Why do you even have a box that has a game in it? Like, what year is this?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You actually have a box with a game in it. If it was like a PS3 box, fine, or a PS4 box, whatever. You have a PC game box that used to contain a game. That doesn't even
Look at this. I love. Look at that. I got it right here. I got it on stream. You're gonna see it in a second. Look at this. A little damage to the corners. This thing. I don't know. I love to know that. Okay. Sierra Studios. I remember they made like fishing games and stuff like that, and we got the Valve marker on the back here. I mean, you got Valve, right there. I mean, I don't know. You may judge me on that.
Do you still have a CD drive in your computer? Have you opened it?
My current computer does not. I just have like one of those USB to CD-ROM drives that I use in case I need it. Oh yeah, you know what? While we're on that topic, here you go. You ready? You're gonna see it on stream. I have the original Diablo 1 box named Game of the Year by Gaming World. It was $11.90.
What the heck is Gaming World?
It was $11.99. $11.99. You can't buy a Blizzard game for that right now. $11.99. Look at that. Look at this quality. You don't get this type of quality out of box art anymore. Like, come on now. So yes, you can enjoy that. I want my Smite box art. Come on now. I want my Smite box. I don't even care if it's free. I don't even know how we got. Oh, we talked about
What
CS:GO.
have I started?
That's
what have
right.
I started?
That's right. Don't make me go get
I apologize.
more. Don't make me go get more. What other ones are? Oh, one last throwback. You ready? One last throwback.
Oh boy.
The original.
This is almost as bad as you talking about worshippers in
the original StarCraft battle chest.
Look at you, Mr. Blizzard fanboy. I like it.
There's Diablo 2 in the background too. Anyways, back to real life.
Back to Smite.
Let's get out of the 90s and get into Smite here.
Blizzard doesn't let you stream on their channel.
I know, right? I'm gonna get a message tomorrow from the Bill. He's like, let's keep it Smite focused. Anyways, let's go ahead here and talk a little. Got it. We'll go through an email here. Bring another caller. We got quite a few callers in here hanging out right now. So let's go ahead here. This one comes from Colin and says, what do you think about Hi-Rez making a Horus god? Is that how you spell Horus? Horus, I guess? God. If they ever do, and what do you think his power would be? Also, what if they made a Stargate skin for him? Also, what do you think, what skin do you want for Thanatos? So, first off, I need to go ahead and Google this god. As I am not familiar. Are you familiar with them?
I'm not familiar with it, but it looks like
looks
this
Egyptian.
is the
looks Egyptian.
Yeah.
God
and
of
the whole Isis and Osiris little
God of vengeance, sky, protections, and war, which is kind of interesting because it's like a little bit of everything. Like the God of War, we kind of already have that they've taken with Ares, so I don't think that they would have another God of War in there. God of Sky would be interesting. I think a lot of, Hi-Rez has kind of breached that gap where they've gone from the traditional ultimates only occur on your ground level playing field. We have like Sobek who can kind of dive under, but we're not really getting a lot of like underneath the ground underworld style. But up in the air though, we do have, your Apollo, and we also have your Thor. Did you know that the Thor ultimate is higher than the Apollo ultimate?
What?
I
did not know
pop
that.
up in the air as Thor and have your buddy get on Apollo and go under you, and it is like half. It is like half the height. Anyways,
that's interesting.
Here it is. Here it is. Things you did not know about Smite. But anyways, it would be interesting to have a God of the Sky where you can, we have. Oh, you know what? No, we have Nuwa now that pops up in the sky. Doesn't move though, but does her ultimate. It would be quite interesting. So if we had a god, Horus, who's an Egyptian god, who could go up in the sky, what would you make the ultimate or something? God of the sky. What would you make her? What would you make? I'm gonna say her ultimate, but maybe I'm incorrect. Let's see here.
I think it's probably a dude.
Okay, it looks like a male. Okay.
It's a dude.
It's a dude. What do you got? So what's your ultimate?
I wouldn't. This is the cool thing about what Hi-Rez does with these gods. Just because they're the god of vengeance, sky protection, and war, there's other things that they were the god of as well. That I like how Hi-Rez looks at everything.
Yeah,
and it's a good example of Apollo, right? They went with the music theme as opposed to what is it like sun? I think it's like sun, something like that. It's something else. He's more known for something else, but they decided to go towards his music theme. So I would actually go for if this guy was ever put into the game. I like the fact that he's the god of war and hunting, and he's also shown with having a falcon head and a falcon turning into a falcon itself. Never mind. We already have Sun Wukong turning into the bird.
All right, I got two ideas.
Down already.
Two ideas. First idea, god of protections in a team fight ultimate. Rocks would come up from the ground with Egyptian glyphs on them and surround your teammates to give them like crazy protections during team fights.
You love this idea because this is not the first time you've talked about this.
Second idea, God of the Sky. In a team fight scenario, this would not be global, but in a team fight scenario, you actually take your opponents and lift them up into the air. When they come down, they have a stun. So like the entire team, anybody in that radius on the opposite team gets pulled up into the air and then comes back down or something like that. Like taking them off the playing field for a short amount of time and back on. But instead of individualized like Naja or Kumbhakarna, it's the entire group. Just a thought.
Sure.
Whatever.
Not mad about it.
The other question there was about Thanatos. What did you pick for your community skin vote for Thanatos?
With Angelic, just because he's already kind of evil and devilly.
What are you teaming up with? Are you teaming up with F-Dot? F-Dot gave me such a hard time for not picking that.
What'd you pick?
I came down to two: Robotic or the Dark Lord, and I went with Robotic because I liked the Geb Robotic, the Geb 1, so I wanted to see that theme continued onto other gods.
I can see that. I like the fact that there are like groups of themes in the game, so that's kind of cool. And you're kind of right. Angelic doesn't really go in a lot of different gods, so there's not going to ever be like a bundle of gods that are all angelic that I know of at this point.
That's right. Right.
I still like the angelic. Kind of what Smitten was talking about before. I think they can really make it so he becomes more and more glorious and more radiant throughout the match. I think that'll be really, really cool. So hopefully we'll see it. Because once I saw Diamond, his feathers on the Diamond skin, I was like, oh yeah. Let's make him completely holy priest. Bring him in here, not priest, but you know what I mean. I like it. We'll see what happens. That's going to be probably the most expensive skin in Smite, though, when you think about it, because you have to own every single item in the Odyssey, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's your gift for every single item in the Odyssey. So that is the most expensive skin in Smite. I
thought it was just the last item. I didn't realize that it was the prerequisite, that you got I'm not sure. Unless I'm wrong.
All right, now you're making me second guess myself.
Yeah. Chat room's going to tell us how it works. Chat room's going to tell us.
We'll chat decide that, but I think it's the reward of buying every single thing.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like we got the the esports frame and the support thing. It's just another tier once you bought everything. So with that being said, I don't think Robotic is grand enough to be the most expensive skin in the game. It has to be something that's angelic, and it's something that just gets better and better as you go from level 5, 10, 15, and 20. It just becomes more and more like, has to be.
Alrighty. We'll go ahead and take us another caller here. Ezra, welcome to Smite Talk. How's it going?
Uh-oh.
Not too bad. How is everybody?
The Arena Queen is here. What's going on?
Whoa!
Wait a minute. See, and I was just coming on just to talk about some things.
What do you got? What do you got for us today?
Well, I got a couple things. Real quick. Sylvanas and Arena.
Yep.
Fabulous.
Oh yeah, really good, really good. I'm glad you're digging them.
Oh yeah, I'm already at rank 1.
Oh, I gotta log off,
I
guys.
grounded that out yesterday.
I gotta log off. He's gonna catch me.
I have a long way. I have a long way to go this week. I think I'm just gonna go on a Sylvanas hunt and just every game auto lock. I'm gonna be that guy. Okay. So what question you got for us today?
His 2 ability, and I know the nerf bat is coming.
Oh, do you?
Because his 2, well, because that's the way Hi-Rez works. There'll be, it's coming. His 2 is a 2.
Okay.
I would just rather them, if they just strip the protections, not completely kill the heal and the damage. Because I did the numbers.
Oh,
and
math
his
man.
damage is really low on the enemy. His heal, it's okay. But it's the protections, I think, that really make it the stripping of the protections that really make it bad. So I hope they would just take that away and then leave him alone for a little while and see how he goes. See how he does.
I wish, of course this is not going to happen because he's so strong, just like you said, but I wish they would leave him alone because this is the first time I've actually played a tank since Geb came out. Like, remember when Geb first came out? This is the last time I played a tank where I actually felt tanky. I actually felt like I can be in a team fight, walk around, like peel people and like be a tank. I haven't felt this way since I played Geb. Like when I play Athena, I don't necessarily feel like a tank until I get a bunch of items online. Like I don't feel really tanky when I'm in Ares. I feel like people can burst me down too fast. But when I play like Sylvanas, I actually feel like I can do stuff in the fight. And I think if they want more people to play support, they have to, they might have to do like, remember when they nerfed all the warriors? They might have to like buff all the guardians. Like,
okay.
I think this is the key to making Guardians fun to play, is making them so that they can be in a fight. Like I feel like I'm too weak when I play other tanks.
So
I don't feel that way with Sylvanas.
So this is
I can understand it.
This is an argument I made some time back regarding, and I don't know if it's on this show or another show or on Twitter, whatever, about Guardians in the game where, Sylvanas definitely has the survivability in fights. And when ganks occur, there's a high survivability because they're a Guardian. Part of me feels that same survivability needs to be applied to the other Guardians in the game to make Guardians true supports. And what I mean by that is the point where you should be able to take a beating as a Guardian. And
totally agree.
I think Geb with his shield and his kit allows for that. I think Sylvanas with his kit allows for that as well. I think a lot of the other gods do not, where for Guardians, example with Ares, granted his bolstered defenses is okay on his second ability, but what makes Ares good is that he has a little bit of the Guardian aspect, but then he, his kit lends to it, but he does a lot of damage with those shackles, and the ultimate is such a huge utility. With Bacchus, Bacchus and Athena, their kit is so great, one, because of the mobility with Athena, but second, because of the fact of the initiate that's involved with them. The belly flop into the belch, and then with Athena, jumping in with the taunt. So, but I don't feel like a lot of those guys, like the survivability is there until super late game.
Well, I would definitely agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. And Sylvanas is the first one where, I'm partial to tree ants anyway. So to see this great big old thing just barreling into a team fight, hitting the 2, hitting the 1, grabbing somebody trying to get away from a cuckoo whirlpool thing, just
I love it.
Or the blink. Well, I've seen people use blink or just hitting a 4, just knocking everybody up, just disruption, and still standing.
It's exactly. That's
it's
the
still
key.
standing. That's the point. I don't see how the later game you can do that with some of the others like Kumbhakarna or even Athena. But for most of the game, no, I don't see it on anyone else right now except Sylvanas, and that's what I hope that they they leave him alone at least for a little while and let everybody get used to him.
Okay,
but that wasn't why I called. Wasn't why I called. I just mentioned that.
Point on that. Maybe they'll leave him alone because he doesn't have any real mobility. So maybe they'll kind of leave him alone. Maybe his whole thing will be the fact that he's a tree. He'll sit there in the team fight and grow roots and be in the middle of a team fight because he can't get out. Like once he's in. Like it's time to fight. So maybe that will, make the Nerf bat just a little softer. Maybe we'll see. What was your question?
I would hope so. I hope people don't, I hope they're kind to him, because I really do want to take him to rank 10 as well.
Absolutely.
But the other thing was the joining with the other people in the curse chat.
Oh.
FG.
All right, next caller. I'm
on pro side. Just get it, because I went on the Smite forums and I put out a little thing. Hey, I just want to play arena. Anybody else interested? Give me your in-game name. Here's mine. And that just being on Curse, meeting new people, playing together, being able to talk and, strategize. And if somebody needs help, I'm able to react to it even faster. I can say, okay,
you hearing this, FG? You hearing this? You hearing this?
Come towards me. I'll body block, or hey, I got a heal for you, or let me pull them for you. All this stuff just works so much better than that VGS, which is nice because, VGS works, but the curse. FG, really.
I know.
Get on it, broski. Get on it.
VGS is not the best, and you made a really good example. When I do follow me, and I'm like, follow me, and I see the person just go this way, I'm like, dude, this way, come to me. And I understand that would be much, much better in Curse. I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
All right.
I just wish more people would use it, because I'm still in game where, if I go solo queue, nobody will have it. And I'm like, 200 gems, and you get the 200 gems and you get to use it, and it just makes the game more fun. Or what's worse is when just one person out of the other four has it. Those are the two things. Either I would rather everybody have it or nobody have it.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Then just do it that way.
I agree. Well, thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate it.
All right. See you soon.
See ya. Curse power. All right, so let's go ahead. What is our third topic for tonight that we're going to talk about? You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. Unless I did something, but I think you're muted. Let's take a look here. I don't hear you. Let me test it. You ready? I'm going to bring in a caller. Hey, welcome to SmiteTalk. How's it going? Are you there? Oh, that person's not answering. Hello, welcome to SmiteTalk. How's it going? Let's see here. I'm not sure. I see your mouth moving. FG, do you hear me? Shake your head, yes. Yeah, see, you do hear me, but I don't hear you. Why don't you reconnect to raid call to be safe? How's that sound? Let me test something here. Okay, we're still good there. Yeah, looking good. So I'm going to have him jump off here and jump back on. In the meantime, we'll see what happens. Now we just hang out. Dead air. Gotta love it. So FG, get off a raid call. Come back in. Do it. I'm waiting on you. I see your face. I see your face. All right, we'll give him a second here. All right. Hello.
Test.
Hey,
test
there we go.
Test 4.
Magic.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't me. I
don't know what happened. I didn't do anything. I've just been sitting here.
All right, so third topic. What do we got?
All right, third topic. This one hits home. This one really hits home for me, like all the topics do.
Here we go.
I can't wait to see what people in chat think about this, because it's coming. So what are the pros and cons of having timed queues versus rolling queues? Now, if you're not familiar with what the differences are, right now we have rolling queues. So just to keep the numbers completely simple, conquests start every 3 minutes, no matter what. They take everybody that's in the queue, every 3 minutes, people get into games and they go. That is actually a decent system, because it is, you know exactly how long it takes for you to get in the game. You queue in, you go get a drink of water, in 3 minutes you're going to be playing Smite. The problem kind of arises when you get towards the end of the queue, 45 seconds, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and then the queue's like, uh-oh, this level 30 person that has 5,000 games is queuing up, but only people I have left are these people that have only played 10 games. Sorry, here you go. Enjoy your game.
All right,
that's
so
the problem with rolling queues.
Are you taking the pro or con to getting rid of the queues? Which angle are you leaning towards?
I'm taking the fact that I think rolling queues are the better option.
Okay, I will argue against it. So
devil's advocate. I like it.
You give me a reason why, and I'll give one back as to why the removing time queues and going with the non-timed queues is a bad idea. What is the non-timed queues? What is a bad thing about it?
So rolling queues are really good because, first of all, when you look at Smite as a whole, most people kind of hover around 50% win rate. So the queues, the matchmaking are already working. I feel like we're changing the entire system for those very, very few exception games where you have someone in your game that is not supposed to be there. In the casual queue, not talking about ranked. So changing this entire system to account for slightly better matchmaking, because I don't even think it's going to make the matchmaking that much better. Just going to be slightly better. Because when you look at it, we're already at 50%. You're already pretty much playing with people that know that they go mid. And this is jungle camps, and this is mid camps. People pretty much already know that. So your matchmaking isn't going to get that much better taking to the time queues. But what you're going to lose is the ability to jump around to other queues. Right? Okay. If you want to be like, 5 seconds left for assault, I'm going to play assault today. Let's switch it up. Oh, I'm going to play arena today. Let's switch it up. You're only going to queue up for the things that you want to play, and you're going to sit in the queue. And I think that's bad for the game overall. I think it's more fun where you bounce around, and I think rolling queues just make that easier for people.
Okay. My rebuttal will be that I feel that at this point in the game, we have the populations to support a non-timed queue. And with that, the benefit is a better matchmaking system, which in reality will give us a better experience in game. One of the biggest arguments we see, not only from ranked, but then also when you're playing casual, is that just as you said, you'll be in the matchmaking queue, and all of a sudden the queue pops. It needs someone to fill in to get that fourth person. It hasn't found someone. It grabs John Smith, who's been playing the game for 3 weeks.
Sorry, John. You're a great player. Just keep it up.
So my point there is that, and I think I've heard other people say too, is I personally would rather have a better experience in the game with a matchmaking system of like-minded players playing at the same skill level and wait a few extra minutes than one, being able to bounce around, and two, being able to queue, walk away from my computer and come back and know when that queue is going to pop. That's me personally. And I would think that I feel that the value of a better game and a better experience outweighs the fact of knowing when the queue pops and knowing when the next available game is going to be available.
You know what? You make great points. I make great points. Guess where the middle ground is? This
little line, the little line right in between us is the middle ground.
that little line right there. At the very top is a sign that says now in iTunes. Check us out.
That's right.
And the absolute middle ground, and I know there's people that are torn. Even Hi-Rez was like, people aren't gonna like this. They're gonna go right back. He said it right there live on Smite Games. Like, no one's gonna like this.
No.
But I think. And if Hi-Rez, Chris, if you're listening, and I always talk about Blizzard, and you got this fanboy over here, wherever side he's on, with all these boxes in his bedroom, the very, very best way to handle this.
Whoa! I'm not in my bedroom. My wife is sleeping in my bedroom right now, in my bed. I'm in my basement.
TMI. Wow. So Octane is the epitome of a gamer in his basement. Like he is the stereotype.
Listen, you know what?
But it's a pretty nice basement.
Okay, just for FG. In a few weeks, I will have a basement tour video up just to show that's not my bedroom.
Nice. So let's talk about that middle ground. The middle ground is a page right out of Blizzard's book.
Okay.
Randomized game. You click random game, you sit in the queue, and it puts you in assault, it puts you in arena, it puts you in siege, it puts you in conquest. It just throws you in whatever mode is most needed for your skill level. So the system automatically says, okay, we need more level 30 people in Conquest. Yeah. The person that hit randomized game, the system says, okay, I need you to come to Conquest. I need you to come to Siege. You never know what you're going to queue up for, but you get rewards like extra favor, extra worshipers, because you're the guy that fills in the gaps, right? Yeah. And I think I hope that's the best way to do it, because like I said, I came from League of Legends, who they have the time queues. I only queued up for Summoner's Rift because that's all I really wanted to play, and I didn't want to wait to play something I wasn't really that interested in. You know, it's kind of like the thing where it's like, if you're going to give me a stale pizza, I want it now. I don't want to wait 50 minutes for you to deliver me a stale piece of pizza. But if it's in the kitchen right now, I'm going to eat it, whatever. But if you're going to deliver it to me, I'm going to pay $20 for a stale piece of pizza, we have a problem. And that's my thing when it comes to queues. I don't want to wait for games that I don't want to play.
I like the concept of having a random button in there for your queues, so that when FG jumps into game, he's not sure what's going to pop now. He's only got 25 minutes, so he doesn't want to do Conquest, whatever. I like the ability to select random. Then you have checkboxes for what games that you're looking to play, but it has to be more than one. So what I mean by that is when you jump into it, you have to pick the checkboxes for what do you want to play. With all the game modes listed, you select the game modes that you're looking to play. Of course, has to be more than one, because it wouldn't work. You know, like that wouldn't make sense.
Right.
So you select it and you hit random. Then what happens is it goes to the first queue that pops that matches you up. So you get put in, how would that work? You get automatically put into the next one that's going to pop, and it uses, so let's say the next one's Assault. It adds you into that matchmaking system for just Assault. It doesn't put you into the other 1v1, and doesn't put you into that matchmaking system to mess it up. So that's how I would see it working. And it doesn't tell you until the queue pops. And you have to remember, without the timed queues, you don't have the accept button, I don't think. You automatically go in. You automatically go in. So you automatically pop in, but when you go in, if it's going to do that, it needs to have a notification at the top that tells you what game mode you're playing in, which I think it does top left. I think they need to make it more relevant, that like more, easier to see type of deal. So that is my thoughts on the middle ground between you and I think it could work.
Let's fly to Atlanta, dude. We got some coding to do.
That's right.
We got some coding to do. Let's get it on.
Who needs to go to Atlanta? I could do that now. Come on now. Let's do it.
Oh, whoa.
Dude,
wow.
I am not a game developer. Keep me away.
I will be so happy if this gets implemented in the game somehow.
That's right. All of a sudden, bam.
I really would be.
Hi-Rez Chris is like, boop, boop, boop. He calls up Stu. He's like, dude. He's got the bat phone. He's like, hey, we got an idea. What's wrong with it?
I don't even care. You can take all the credit. I don't even care. I'd be happy.
All right. They probably already have done this, and it's like coming out next week. So anyways, let's go ahead.
Maybe.
Let's go ahead here. I think we chatted on that enough. We'll go ahead and bring in our next caller. Welcome to SmiteTalk. DeHorn. How's it going? Hello.
Hello.
How you doing? All right, doesn't look like he's there. Let's move on to our next caller here. Agent Chrome, welcome to SmiteTalk. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Hey.
Yo.
So what do you want to talk about today?
Okay. Now, it's bound to come up. It's a little off topic. Stupid sticky keys.
That's okay.
That's hilarious.
Oh my god. Hang on.
What are you pressing here?
I know it sounds like he's using like an old like AM radio. It's like in the background. We got a fire on 5th Street going on right now. Need some extra ladder support. You good?
That's fine.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Now it's bound to come up. But do you ever think Smite will become as big as the big tournament going on for LoL right now?
Okay. So the World Championships right now for LoL, correct? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you got, FG? What are your thoughts?
I'm kind of biased, but I do believe that Smite will become exponentially bigger than it is today. There is zero competition in its field right now.
It's the only one with like a third-person camera right now.
Yeah, for sure. Now, there are tons and tons of mobile players that don't care about the third-person view, and they have 2 games to trickle to. And everybody else, really, Smite is the only option if you are tired of top-down MOBAs. It is it. All the big companies have already thrown their cards in. EA has Dawngate, Blizzard has Heroes of the Storm. All these big companies have already said, here's our game. And if anybody else tries to make a game like Smite in a third-person view, we already have Smite has been in development it's been outside of beta and in production for 2.5 years, 3?
Yeah, about.
We already have like a 3-year head start on any other company that comes out with a game. We have 58 gods in the game. This is really funny because there's been a lot of promotion with Strife, that MOBA from Heroes of Newerth, that team. Yeah. People log into the game, it's like, oh, this game only has 20 heroes? Yeah. But people don't realize it takes time to build these characters. We got a 58 god head start on people in this perspective. And
how long was the game in beta?
That's Octane. Go for it. I don't know about that one.
Are you talking about Smite? How long it was in beta?
Yeah.
At least a year, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
Because we just came out of beta in March, and the game actually launched in March, which was funny because the game already launched. Come on, let's be honest with you. The only reason that you can say that the game officially launched was for the fact that it could be reviewed by outside publications, and it's pretty much all marketing. And it went really well. And you guys that were around when the game launched in March, reviews were the big hype, and back and forth, 9 out of 10s, 8.8, 8.5, 7 out of 10s, always up there type of deal, which was really, really great. To tackle some of the things that you said, FG, saying that Smite is within the top 3 MOBAs is extremely accurate when it comes down to your numbers, your revenue, return on investment, stuff like that. I think people compare it a lot to League of Legends and Dota 2, but people have to remember that Dota 2 and League of Legends were in the MOBA scene at the infancy of MOBAs. And just every game type kind of has its its glory in regards to hey, during this 5 to 10 year period, it was the age of first person shooters and stuff like that. And we are in the middle of that kind of MOBA kind of dynasty, you could say. And, Dota 2 and League of Legends were at the beginning of it. So, of course, the growth, the size, and the amount of money that is in that scene exceeds what we have as that kind of third MOBA directly behind it. If you look at where Smite was in March when it launched, look how far ahead League of Legends and Dota is. So a lot of the sponsors, a lot of the money has been dumped into those scenes, and we're seeing it transition. What's going to make Smite bigger, and what people argue about a lot, is esports. That is what is going to make Smite a more popular game. The numbers are growing out of the accounts. I think last published was 4 million plus accounts. We don't have exact accurate numbers out there, but esports is where Hi-Rez is dumping a buttload of money into. And the reason is because with esports, nice there, FG. My butt's a little bigger than that, but that's okay. With esports comes the attention to the game, which then brings in not only people that are playing League of Legends and Dota 2, maybe people that play WoW because of the same game look, that 3D look, that third-dimensional look there, third-person view, I'm sorry. But, that's where the growth is. People argue all the time, well, why aren't we seeing them advertise more Smite to your casual players or blah, blah, type of stuff? Why aren't we seeing that? Because in this day of age, marketing in the esports direction will allow Smite to grow overall as a game. And I understand why Hi-Rez is putting millions of dollars into the game right now. Do I think we have a chance to compete? I don't think that we will reach a level of League of Legends or Dota 2 in the next 5 years.
Obviously, they've been around a little bit longer than us.
But I don't know if that's Hi-Rez's goal, though. I don't know that their goal is, hey, we want to be the Titan in the MOBA scene. Because I think they're a little more realistic, though, in regards to, we see 2 companies that have beaten us to the MOBA. They were not the big one when it came down to MOBAs. And so they're able to say, hey, we're happy with third. We'd love to aim for second. But is it realistic? So to me, I don't think we'll beat that League of Legends mark in that perspective. I think prize pool wise, without a doubt, you look at their prize pool versus what our prize pool could be, we're getting there. Are we going to reach Dota 2's level? I don't think so. I don't think we'll hit that 11 million mark without the accounts to back it. Their amount of accounts that they have within Dota 2 allows them to fuel that number, that $11 million number. So That's just my 2 cents.
And I say, is 5 million bad? Absolutely not. If we can hit 5 million, that's insane. Not this tournament.
I think 5 million is possible in the next 5 years. 5 years from now, I think 5 million is possible.
How much is the prize pool for the League of Legends thing again?
Is one? I thought it was 1 point something, wasn't it?
I don't really
look it up.
the league.
Look it up. All right, you're not gonna look it up. Ready?
Oh god.
Esports.com. Go.
I'm looking it up now. Here we go. I'll have it in a second. And 2.1 it looks like. Let's see here. Maybe this is a quick number. Let's see. I think it was 2.1. Maybe I'm wrong. I have to find it. Chat's gonna tell us here in just a second. I thought it.
I don't know.
That's all right.
I see 2 million thrown around a lot. I see 2 million a lot.
Yeah. Now, granted, okay, 2 million for 2015 SWC calling. Oh, that guy's calling it now in chat. Okay. Okay. The teams who grab first place at the grand finals will be rewarded $1 million. So it is more than 1.5.
That's split up 5 to 6 ways.
Yep. And second place will get 250,000. Third will get 150,000, and teams in 5th through 8th will get 75. So they're quite a bit there. They're probably up around 5 million then, give or take. I didn't do the math. Somebody could do the math real quick, but you know, so they're quite up there. I think we're there. I think we'll get there. I don't know that we'll match this at all, but I think we'll, you know, my prediction was 1.5 million, but we're almost hitting 1 million right now, and we still have quite a few weeks to go. 14 weeks to be exact. So
that's insane that we're even in the conversation that as a 6-month-old game. You know, I'm not counting beta.
$1 million. That's right.
We're in the conversation to begin with. So I think that's to kind of put a teapot on the end of this question. That doesn't make any sense, but go with it. Smite will get there. It's 6 months old. League of Legends is 5 years old. League of Legends was the first. Dota 1, Dota 2 had Dota 1. Smite has nothing.
Yeah.
It's starting brand new.
I swear, if there's a Smite 2, I'm just quitting.
I don't
think there needs to be.
I don't think Smite 2 will be in the horizon. Like, you're talking, if there was a Smite 2, it might be like 15, 20 years from now. Now, granted, maybe I don't know. I feel like, yeah.
The Smite engine's pretty decent. I mean, as far as graphics go and them being able to add things like, you know, the Yanis abilities and things like that, it looks to be like they can do things in this engine that is going to be relevant for the next few years. So I don't think Smite 2 is coming anytime soon. But yeah, I think Smite's good, man. I think we'll be sniffing at Dota 2 real soon. Couple years.
All right, good deal. Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate it, Agent Chrome. Great question.
No problem.
Awesome. I love good questions like that.
I love that question.
I know, right? Gets me fired up. I'm ready. Let's go, SWC. Are you going? are you going to the LAN event or no? Like,
yeah, of course I'm going.
Not SWC. I mean the NA LAN event.
Yeah, the one in January.
No, the one in November. The one in November.
Oh no, not gonna be there.
Okay. I mean, I knew you'd be at SWC either way, so that's good. Let's go ahead and see here. We'll bring in another caller here. Proxy Damage, welcome to Smite Talk. How's it going?
Hey, it's been quite a while.
I know.
From Europe.
What do you want to talk about today?
Since I haven't been able to call for a while, I have a few things, but cut me off when I go too far.
You're cut off. Get out. Get out.
Okay. All right.
What do you got?
First thing, I'd like to talk about time queues. Actually, you guys talked about time queues versus the rolling queues. I think there's a different middle ground where you can do like casual games. Is sort of accepted that casual games are more like relaxed. They're more, you know, whatever happens. So why don't you have the current queue for the casual queue, like the timed one or the rolling one? I don't know which one.
Timed.
And then you have and then you have the new one for ranked game, which is more serious. So it's more important to have a more evenly matched, match.
I'm not even mad.
I think it's a good idea. I think that's a great point. I think you could do that. I think, the argument. I mean, I see the argument more in ranked players, to be honest with you, regarding upset that they are placed with people multiple leagues below them. So I can see that. I can see that value there. I think if they put, my thought is that if they put when they put in the removing timed queues, I think then some weeks later they will adjust it and fall back to, because of the community request and outrage, they'll fall
Very
back.
possible, yeah.
They'll fall back to the time queues for casuals and go to the non-time queues for ranked for the value of the in-game experience and better matchmaking system.
Because generally, when you're
what was that?
I say, like, generally when you queue casual, it's because you're not really on that I want to be super serious mode. So like, I think it's probably more important to just have a quick match than to have a super balanced one. Whereas in ranked, you actually want the super as close matchup as possible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. What else? What else you got?
FG didn't actually get to answer. I don't know if he had anything to say. I cut him off. Sorry.
Look at that, Octane.
All he said was, yeah. He agreed. Remember, he said he agreed.
I had a small point. I totally agree with you when it comes to League being more serious, because when you want a really balanced match, you go to League because guess what? There's bans there, right? That makes the game intrinsically just more balanced because you can ban things that are dumb or super countery. In Casual Queue, there's no ban. It's blind pick. Everyone just picks gods. They go out. They try new things. I really hope what you said comes true and, you know, they separate the queues based off of rank and casual. That would be great.
All right. The other thing I was gonna say is, like, why am I hearing people talk about Isheval or whatever the new bow is called on hunters? Like, you're not gonna build it on hunters. Has anyone here tried Isheval on Osiris?
Well, yeah, that it's very much for those type of chainsaw gods. Like a lot of it's better picked up for Bakasura, for Kali. You know, those gods that, you know, the quick burst damage. That's where it's actually more valuable, to be honest with you.
How about Nemesis? Yeah, that'd just be mean.
Well.
Ult, that bow, whoo, that is just angry.
It's not just the attack speed it gives, it's the fact that it steals power from the other guys. Like, it's a 60 power differential. Like Osiris, you build that, and it's so cheap. It's 1,600 or something like that.
Okay.
It's so cheap. You build that on Osiris first before even boots. Boots Azzy, you don't die anymore. You just don't die anymore.
Okay, good to know there. Good to know. What else?
Yeah, I wouldn't build a hunter either.
Yeah.
I don't see the point. I mean, Executioners is your item as a hunter. I can see the argument of using that bow in place of the Executioners, but I just feel like Executioners is a better item when it comes to that.
Yeah, at least for hunters, I agree. Yes.
For hunters, it's not worth it unless you're gonna go for early boxing. But
yeah, that's a good point. I like it.
Now I wanted to do a little bit of a shout out to the esports scene.
Okay.
Like, it's easy to talk about all the teams that are winning. Oh, CogRed is amazing. Yeah, we know they're winning like every game.
So I have to comment on CogRed, by the way, on Twitter.
Yeah, go on.
During this conversation, someone posted a picture of the CogRed and Cog Prime logos, and the Cog Prime logo has like a king crown on it for King Cog. The Cog Red logo has a Chuck E. Cheese crown on top of it for the age. All right,
that's hilarious.
I'm finding it right now. Hang on. Here it is right here. I will find it, and I will link it in chat. Hang on here, because I think whoever did this is so awesome. Continue what you're going to say, and I will find this.
I was going to say, yeah, but I'd like to leave a shout out to 3 teams that are currently sort of underperforming compared to the others. Like, I want to leave a shout out to Thirst, which I am so sorry for Wolfie. It's incredibly difficult to build any team when your roster practically needs a revolving door.
That's so true, though. You're so true. It's so true.
Didn't he change someone like this week or something like that? He can't keep a roster. Like, something always happens. Like, it's impossible to build team synergy like that.
Yeah, I feel like the team has turned into kind of one of those like academy teams where it's, you know, people come in, they get their experience, and then they rotate out type of deal.
Oh god, the Wolfie Academy.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It is. It's like the Wolfie Academy. Like, comes in, people play on his team, they rotate out, something happens. It's a shame, because I remember talking to Wolfie like weeks back before the SPL, and he ended up falling into a spot where he ended up becoming the captain of that team where he wasn't looking to be. But that was his route. That was his avenue into getting into the SPL because of his fallout in Smite. And so, you know, all of a sudden, you know, now he's in the SPL trying to go ahead and roster a team and running into exactly what you're talking about. So it's a shame. It's a real shame because the avenue that they took is this route. I'm hoping things get squared away in the wild card for him.
Yeah, the leader was Pern, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pernicus? Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So we'll see what happens.
Who
Anything
was
else?
the first to bail out?
Yeah, it was. Anything else you got for us today?
Yeah, Chunks, I want to say, shout outs to Fat Chunks. It hasn't worked out in the beginning. I think they're way stronger now, but still got work to do. But it's always interesting to see them play because they bring different tactics to the table.
I agree.
And so, shout outs to them. And finally to Team Toast, I mean Team Coast, because
Toast.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that
team.
Further. That team did amazing at the LAN event not too long ago, and they're just suffering now.
So did SK.
Yeah.
SK destroyed everybody.
But SK at least came into, after that LAN event, came into the SPL and dominated very early on, and then it kind of faded out. I mean, all the teams have faded in and out of being. I know I always like to say that about competitive teams. They're either on or they're in a rut. They're off. Cognitive Red has been really one of the only teams that has been extremely consistent. Maybe Cog Prime too, very consistent in their play throughout the SPL, which makes them very strong when it goes down to LAN events. Like, because the consistency's there, you know what you're going to get out of those teams. But with all the other teams and all the rest of the leagues, you don't know, because they've all had experience. SK came into the SPL and did very good early on. Now, they're kind of falling off. Mortality did very well in the beginning of the SPL, fell off. Now it's coming back. Exposed Secrets wasn't good in the beginning. Now they're kind of on fire. They went through their period. They're kind of still there. So I can agree with you. It's kind of back and forth.
Yeah, that's true. And Coast just fell.
Oh yeah, they just fell hard and just been sitting at the bottom. So I can agree.
All the Bobat chats everybody talking about Bobat in the chat. Man, remember when Ninja Bobat was like on point? He was like he was the man. Like, you would hear casters yell his name from the beginning of the match to the end, and just like you said, they're either on or they're kind of just in that rut.
Yeah, it's a shame. Well, Proxy Damage, thanks for coming on, man. You have a good night.
All right, man. Take.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's always a shame. Like, players that play consistently are so valuable. But then, those teams and those players that are, that are like hot one game or two games, but in the next game they just fail miserably. Like, it makes it really difficult, without a doubt. So, let's bring on another caller here. Welcome to SmiteTalk. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, we know back in July when Janus was released, we knew about the poly nerf and how much it would affect most mages lane clear.
Yep.
I was wondering, how does it fit into the meta now, and how do you think it will do in the future? And if you think it would get any possible buffs, and as well, who do you think it works on best?
Are we talking about Polynomicon mostly?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, talk to me.
What do you got, FG?
Yeah, I miss the Polynomicon, the real Polynomicon. I mean, there are just certain gods in the game that it just works really well on. Gods that have really good pop damage, but they just need that little extra, like a god like Scylla, for example. Gods like Athena Jungle was so good with Polynomicon because her cooldowns are so long. You needed to have that damage. She suffers. Gods like Kronos. I mean, there was a lot of gods that really benefited from the old school Polynomicon that just aren't as strong anymore. But I know why it was nerfed, right? Ao Kuang or Cuckoo now. Squall, Polynomicon to the face. Oh my God, so much damage. I don't think anything's changed that has changed since they nerfed it till now to warrant it going back to the way it was, unless I'm missing something.
No, I mean, I think you're right there. Right on the money there, to be honest with you. I mean, Polynomicon's been. Look at you, show. What is that shirt? What is that shirt? Oh my word!
It's a puma with a gold chain.
That is a shirt that F. Dot would wear. Just gonna put it out there.
I will bring F. Dot one.
Oh my word!
We'll wear it at the Worlds.
Except his will have that ugly dog that he has all over his channel.
Oh, that would be so awesome!
But with the chain, with the gold chain, that has an F hanging from it, like a nice gold F.
That would be so awesome.
Like swag. All right, so I don't know. Polynomicon. I think Polynomicon I think was too strong to be honest with you. I like the nerf and adjustment that was made to it. I like where it's at right now. Where it was like a requirement as a mage. It was like, oh, you're going to do magical damage? You have to have this item. And I don't like that those types of items exist at all, to be honest with you. Like, I don't like that there are required items in order to maximize, to be a mage in that perspective. So I'm glad of the change. Do I see changes coming to it in the future? Probably not, to be honest with you. I don't know that. I don't know. It doesn't need it. FG, what do you think?
Yeah, just like I said, I don't think the game has changed since it was nerfed till now to warrant it going back to the way it was. Mages are still very strong. Yanis is incredible. Even building CDR, Yanis will chunk away your damage. So I don't think it's coming back anytime soon.
Yeah.
RIP Athena Jungle. Well, let me take that back. Athena Jungle is very, very good when it comes to being presence around all the lanes, but she used to pop people in the face. Now, not so much.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thanks, man, for calling in. I appreciate your questions about Polynomicon.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Always nice people. Such nice people. I like giving F. a hard time in chat. All right, so let's see here. Guys, we have about 14 minutes left for our show here. Try to get in as many people as we can. Sunlit Moonshine, welcome to Smite Talk. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. So what do we want to talk about on today's show?
So I was thinking they could add a new pantheon of gods.
Okay.
And it would be like the Celtic pantheon.
Okay. What exactly did you have in mind for that pantheon?
They could just add like a whole bunch of new gods to like the Guardian role, or maybe I'm hoping for a new assassin because I play main jungle, so I'm hoping for that.
Okay, what do you think, FG?
So they've talked about this a few times, right? So they are going to bring another pantheon in the game much later. It's not going to happen this year, or maybe not even next year, since we have so many extra. There's so many gods that we haven't even touched on yet. But
yeah, definitely.
To be honest, if I thought about this in a business savvy type of way, I would think they would go for something other than Celtic. Maybe they would go Korean, maybe.
Oh,
they would probably go that route. That's just me. I mean, we have such a good rapport with the Chinese teams because we have these Chinese gods. Instant. People love the game because they get to play these gods that they have grown up with and maybe still worship in some places. So I think they'll probably go Korean. Just saying.
I don't know that I mean, I like the idea of different pantheons in there. I don't know. I feel like we're in a pretty good spot for assassins. We just got Serket not too long ago, so I think we're in a good spot. Granted, the last two gods we've had is our lovely Guardians, is what the category we're putting them under. I don't know where you put Kabrak in, to be honest with you, but yeah, I mean, I think we're in a pretty good place. I think Hi-Rez is building their game in order to allow for future expansion, just like FG had said. Like the endless possibilities with the different pantheons that are out there, gods that are available. I mean, there's so much content available for Hi-Rez. There's so many gods and deities and half gods and everything out there. So I think the opportunity is great. I mean, it's cool. Okay, we're in a point with a game, and a game. The content of the game is endless compared to other games where they're sitting around being like, okay, what type of new character can we add in? I don't know. We have to come up with something. Whereas now it's like, wow, we have that's why they have people at Hi-Rez Studios where their sole job is coming up with finding new gods and new content and presenting them to the different individuals at the company to say, hey, this could be a potential new god, or this could be a potential new god, or you know what I mean? So I think we're in a good place. I think we have a lot of time. I don't think we need to rush it. FG and I talked about it at one point, like we don't need a new god every month. Every 4 weeks, we don't need that. Every 6 weeks, maybe. Every 4 weeks, I think is a little much. So
this also kind of begs the question here a little bit. Do you think the reason why they limit the pantheons, because when you think about it, does it really matter? Why don't they just look at all gods and across all pantheons? Or do you think that Hi-Rez purposely limited to just these pantheons so they can not have the whole world to look at? Like, all right, let's focus on small pillars as opposed to every single god?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a point. I like it. That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Sunlit Moonshine, thanks for coming on tonight. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you. All right.
The final caller.
I scream. Welcome to Smite Talk. How's it going?
Good. You?
Good. What do you want to talk about today?
Good.
I was gonna ask what game modes you guys recommend for new players.
Very good question. FG, I'll let you take this one first.
Siege all day long. Siege. Siege gives you the perfect. It gives you faster paced games that allow more gold to be generated, which allow you to build items that you wouldn't normally build.
Yeah.
Or you get to see the items, more so. You get to kind of play around with it a little bit more. You can pick your god without having to pick a role, but you still get the ability to have team fights, to understand how ganking works, to understand how jungling works, to understand about pushing towers, grouping up for team fights over objectives. It gives you a little bit of everything in one mode, and it allows you to jump to arena if you want more of the team fightiness, or you can jump to conquest if you're more of the objective style. I think Siege is the perfect baby step.
My recommendation is actually a little different. I would start out with Assault. Assault forces you, one, as a new player, to play different gods, which I think is important. A lot of new players go ahead, jump into game, play a god, get comfortable with that god, and stay with that god all the way through to level 30. I disagree with that. I want to see you get into Assault, play a different god every time. It forces the team fight, so you learn to team fight, but then you also learn the laning phase because of the minions and the towers that are available in Assault. I think after you get comfortable in Assault, then you move on to Siege in order to take advantage of the lane-to-lane possibilities, the jungle options, team fight experiences in there, and objectives are in there as well. So I would take it Assault, then Siege, because of the forcefulness of playing the different gods. So that would be my recommendation. But any other questions?
One more question. Yeah. Since Guan Yu is a god, do you think Lu Bu is gonna be in the game?
I don't know who that is. FG, do you?
Lu Bu? You never played Dynasty Warriors? Well, I know he exists outside of Dynasty Warriors. That's the way I really know him. Yeah, I guess he could be. I don't see why he couldn't, since Guan Yu is like you said, is not really a god. He was kind of like he's more of like a figure. I'm not too big on the lore. We need Caps Lock to be here for that kind of stuff, but I don't see why not. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You have gods like or not gods. You have characters like Arachne. You have characters like Scylla. So yeah, I think the world's wide open when it comes to those type of things.
Okay. Well, I scream. I appreciate you coming on tonight.
All right.
And let's bring in Red. Trying to get through these last callers here. Red, welcome to Smite Talk. How's it going?
Guan Yu's a saint. Sorry,
that's right.
He's a saint.
Up FG.
Hey. Hey, so we want to talk about today?
Octane, I already asked you earlier about what Thanatos skin you picked from the poll. I wanted to ask FG, what skin did you pick?
Oh, from the question.
You're asking about the Thanatos, the Thanatos community poll that was out?
Yeah.
What skin did you pick, FG, for your vote? You picked the
Angelic because it's the best.
Yeah. What did you pick? What Red as the caller? What did you pick?
I picked Dark Lord.
Oh, okay. So a big fan of the Sun Wukong Dark Lord. I think it'd be cool to see a Dark Lord theme with different colored, I'm gonna call them lightsaber colors. Different, your different colors, compared to red. I'd like to see the blue, so we go with that tradition. Maybe yellow and green in there as well. So I think that would be cool. They could have different crystals for their lightsabers. But no, I think that would be a cool idea to see a theme there as well. But Red, thanks for calling in for the question. I appreciate it. I think it is past that man's bedtime. All right, last caller here for tonight. We do have Hat Kid. Welcome to Smite Talk. How's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What do you want to talk about today?
I wanted to talk about how the meta's switching and how Hi-Rez is dealing with. They're trying to differentiate it from the rest of MOBAs.
Okay.
As before, I'm kind of like around the warrior nerf, which happened a while ago, but still relevant. So before, warriors very tanky and did a lot of damage, and everything in the jungle was a warrior.
Yep.
And I know in other MOBAs the jungle's very tanky, but since the warriors nerf, they've kind of changed more and more, and now a lot of things are very glass cannon-y. Okay. And do you think Hi-Rez is trying to differentiate itself even more from the rest of the MOBAs?
What do you got, FG? You played League of Legends, unfortunately.
I don't think they look at any other MOBAs as a template, to be honest. I think they just kind of just based on what you said about what we all saw with the Warrior nerf. The Warrior nerf was just because they dominated every single aspect of the game. Like, you had a tier that sat in solo lane, got super farm, and then transitioned to the late game and killed everyone.
Yep.
Right. I think that's the reason they more so do those type of things. I don't really think they look at any other MOBAs when it comes to templates. Maybe for God concepts and ideas, but as far as the meta itself, we shape our own meta. Like, we shape our own meta. Mercury would have never been nerfed had he not been in tournament levels destroying people in the ADC lane.
Yep.
Never been nerfed. He would never been touched.
Or solo.
It has nothing to do with any other other aspects.
I'm not going to argue that Hi-Rez looks at other games for creative insight, ideas. There's nothing wrong with that. As I said earlier, like that's something you're supposed to do within as a business model in order to compete. When it comes down to the way the meta is set, as I agree with you, like, we set the meta as a community because of the competitive play affecting the casual and ranked play there. Outside of that, do I think that we try to differentiate ourselves? We do. We naturally do that already with having a similar game mode to some giants like League of Legends and Dota, but we have things that set us apart that not only attract some MOBA players from those games, but also attract World of Warcraft players and stuff like that, whereas the third person perspective with skill shots. And that's what makes us so unique and makes it hard to compete with Smite, because it comes down to the skill shots and also comes down to the view of that third person. So I don't think we're trying to set ourselves apart even more outside of what we already do. I think we're doing a good job with it.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. Like, I've played the other MOBAs and I don't like it. That's why I play Smite. It's the third person. I like the skill shots.
So what did you come from before you played Smite? What did you play before that?
First-person shooters.
Okay.
That's kind of what I really like. Like, I first started playing Chronos and Hunters.
So
I was like, I like that you have to hit things.
So the skill shot option is very attractive to you then, coming from a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
It all comes down to what you're hitting. Now, granted, the view is a little bit different, but now that you've played Smite, do you find that very comfortable?
Yeah, I find first-person shooters a lot harder to hit anything now. Like when I went to Smite, I'm like, I can't play this in third person, and then I was like, I can't play first person now.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, the skill shot sells it for me. And when I for example, I work with a younger guy in college still, and he loves League of Legends, and he's like, I don't get how you can play Smite. He's like, I just, how do you click on someone and not be able to cast an ability and it automatically hits them? And I'm like, because it takes skill to hit somebody. Now, granted, like, League of Legends and Dota 2 players are going to, like, rage at me, but, like, I find the value in that. I also find that when I join a game, myself and FG, gear-wise, experience-wise, or whatever, are on the same level as each other. Runes don't determine it. I don't have an advantage over FG because I've been playing since Alpha and he has not been playing since then. So I don't have more runes than he does, which makes me more powerful. I like the aspect of going in. Like, I have that argument with people that play like World of Warcraft or MMOs where they're like, I had this guy who plays D3 religiously, and I was talking to him at a LAN event I was at, and he's like, I don't know how you play Smite. Like, you've been playing it for 2+ years, yet you have no gear to show for it. So your value's not there. And I'm like, the value's in your skill and the skill developed, not in, hey, I've been playing for 2.5 years, so I have better gear than you, so I'm going to rock your socks next time we go 1-to-1. Like, that's not how it works. So just my opinion on Smite and why I play it.
Look at you go.
Well, Hat Kid, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
No problem. Nice to talk.
Well,
man, he went on a tangent there. I just sat back and was like, get it, Octane.
You got anything to add to that tangent?
No, it would not even be able to live up to that standard.
So now I have to ask you, FG, what did you play before you played Smite?
I played Dota 2 and League of Legends. I actually did YouTube videos on both of them. That used to be my thing, was making Dota 2 and League of Legends videos.
So what made you change? What made you change?
The only thing that made me change was the fact that I was poor. and I couldn't afford to buy games to preview on my channel, so I started doing free-to-play games. This is actually the origin of FG3000's YouTube. Check it out.
The infancy.
The infancy. So one day,
don't give him more viewers. He doesn't need more viewers on his YouTube channel.
So one day I downloaded Smite because it was a free-to-play game, and I just needed something to preview. That is the only reason why I downloaded Smite. And I downloaded Smite. I played Artemis in Domination, and I instantly uninstalled Smite afterwards. I just played it. I gave a preview of it. I uploaded the video, and I was on to the next game. But the cool thing was, this is the Smite community years ago. Let me tell you about the Smite community, how good they were. I had League of Legends videos and Dota 2 videos, tons of them. They only had about 10 views a piece, 15 views a piece. My Smite video had like 80 views. And back then it was like, oh my God, people are watching my Smite videos? I had comments, people telling me, hey dude, reinstall the game, go through the tutorial, you noob, and try Conquest before you give up on Smite. That was the Smite community back then.
That was probably, to be honest with you, people not understanding, that was probably before Dry Bear started doing Smite videos. Because
it was very near.
It was probably right around before that time, because I remember when Dry Bear made the transition. Dry Bear was one of the first individuals I started up the Smite Update podcast with, and I started him on the podcast because I found him on YouTube just starting out with Smite videos. He was doing other stuff before that, and I was like, oh, perfect host, good combination, good personality type of deal. But it was before that, because prior to that, Smite videos were very scarce. So I can see how, I'm talking, alpha time period, there wasn't a lot of people doing good content on Smite. So kudos to you. So then you just stuck with it because it gave you more viewers?
Well, people told me to like the game. They said to try Conquest. I didn't know Conquest existed back then. That was a bad on the UI back in the days. I thought Domination was just the mode to play. So I played Domination, came back. I played On Her Conquest, and I had so much fun. And that was the beginning of the beautiful thing. And I stopped playing League of Legends. I stopped playing Dota 2, and I was Smite from that point on. It was a beautiful, beautiful story.
Do you want my story now? Do you want my story now?
Yeah.
All
Let me sit back in my DX Racer.
I hate you for having that chair, by the way, but my IKEA chair does the trick, and it's about half the price of yours. I think it's like $150 versus like $300 plus.
But you don't have the cool logo.
I could buy that pillow for $5 online. Anyways,
go on.
So jumping back, I played competitive. I played World of Warcraft and raided a lot. I gotta look up to see what my box to see in Burning Crusade, and then also Wrath of the Lich King. I raided a lot, and that transitioned into me not having time to raid, and decided, I think this is the time that I was looking to get married, maybe, or something like that. So I ended up deciding I'm gonna go PvP, because like PvP, I joined a competitive Battlegrounds team, was really good actually, and played a Paladin healer in BGs, and so I was doing PvP. I was doing that third-person perspective, and you can see where this is going. So I played that, and finally one day, played Cataclysm, leveled through Cataclysm, and then was like, I'm done. I'm not even going to play any PvP. I'm done with WoW. I'm not interested anymore. So I played the DayZ, the mod, early on, like when it first came out, when it was actually hard, people, and played it, and then and at that same time was playing StarCraft 2. Pretty hardcore. Got in, my highest level was Diamond in StarCraft 2, which I thought was pretty good. Masters were like all pro levels, pro people, and this was before there was Grandmaster. So like pros were at Masters level, so pretty good. And but started to get burnt out from StarCraft 2. I was casting StarCraft 2, hosting tournaments, stuff like that, and decided, we're gonna go ahead and look for something different. And a friend of mine was like, "Oh, I saw this Smite advertisement. You should check it out. I know you were into PvP in World of Warcraft." And so I tried out Smite with me and a few other buddies and loved it. Like, was hooked. I was like, PvP. And the nice thing was it merged it merged the worlds of World of Warcraft, third-person perspective, PvP, and StarCraft 2, where when you load it into a game, it came down to skill. It came down to your experience and skill. And I love that about StarCraft, where I could load up StarCraft, and myself versus FG, we loaded into that game with only thing that made us better was the fact that we played the game longer and our skill in that game, which is the same thing in Smite. So that's why I fell in love with it and was super happy with it within Smite. And I played myself and like 6 other guys put together a competitive team. We had like 1 sub for Smite and played Smite competitively. well over 2 years ago when like the scene was like everybody had a team, and it was, the name of the team was Team Nemesis, and we weren't anything crazy, but we were like, this was like right before Woggle came out, and we were like, oh, there's a team league starting up. Well, let's play once a week. Let's join a team. And this was on like Juice played, and Juice was like amazing back then. Shout outs to Dan Brandon, but like Juice, we played 4 versus 5 because someone of their player DC'd and they still spanked us.
Wow. Don't tell anybody that anymore.
Oh, it's okay because Juice went on to be Curse and Root, and that went on to be what we have now, which is pretty much Dignitas and some players from Snipe. So
love it.
Yep.
It's cool, man. The evolution of a Smite.
That's
I love
right.
it.
That's right. So, guys, we're about 5 minutes behind here, but we are going to go ahead and close out the show for today. I appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with myself and FG. Want to let you guys know that this version of this show is available as an audio-only version on iTunes and also Android. So on Android, check out like Slacker or like BeyondPod, free options out there. And go check those out. You can access the audio-only version. We have a large audience that watches or listens to the show on the way to work, on the way to the gym, while they're at work. They can't watch a video, so they have the audio version available. So go check it out. Feel free to subscribe and leave us some feedback on iTunes. Would love the feedback in there as well. Also, if you guys talking about feedback like this show, go directly below this video portrait. There's a streamer feedback button. Click that and go click Octane Pro and leave myself and FG some feedback about SmiteTalk. That goes directly to Hi-Rez. Lets them know, hey, let's keep this show going, or this show's not working out. Let's make some changes and stuff like that. So send your feedback to Hi-Rez about this show. We would appreciate it via that streamer feedback button below. Finally, as always, we appreciate Hi-Rez allowing us to stream this show every Sunday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/SmiteGame. Please go ahead and hit that follow button, and if you can financially afford it, hit that subscribe button. Outside of that, you can check out the video VOD in the bottom right-hand corner, as you can see here, youtube.com/TheSmiteUpdate. Show myself and FG some support and click the subscribe button on that YouTube channel. And for myself and FG, we'll see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.
Sylvanas, here we come.
Woo!